Hi, this is Steve with Decware. We offer some of our amplifiers with the option of getting XLR inputs, and I get asked frequently by customers ordering amplifiers if they should add that option. I won't bother with a explainer video about XLR, as there are likely some on YouTube already, but I can point out some of the things that Decware does with XLR that are probably fairly unique. As I mentioned, we offer XLR inputs on some of our amplifiers, and we make a standalone XLR to RCA transformer called the Zbit that can be used to send balanced XLR to any unbalanced amplifier that only has RCA jacks. With our amplifiers, the advantage of a Zbit versus having the XLR jacks installed directly on the amplifier is that the Zbit has a variable output control that would allow you to adjust the signal to match your RCA components. As you may already know, XLR signals are significantly louder than RCA signals. An example scenario would be having two sources, one XLR and one RCA. Using a Zbit, you could turn down the XLR source to match the RCA so that when you switch between them you don't have to change the volume. When asked by our customers if they need XLR, my response is nearly always no. I go on to explain that XLR was done for pro audio, where you have long cable runs and noise issues. In your home, long cables are not needed, and as a result, there really are no noise issues to try to mitigate. Dollar for dollar, you can always buy a better RCA cable because it has less conductors in it. Also, thanks to audiophiles, there are thousands of different RCA cables to choose from at all different price points, whereas there will be less choices with XLR cables. The reasons that a Decware customer would choose XLR would be primarily due to setting up a gain structure. Because the XLR output in components has a higher voltage than RCA, you can think of it as free gain. Should you have wanted to add gain to your source, the only other way to do it would be a preamp or gain stage. Decware amplifiers all have a gain control on the input, and by using a Zbit you can get up to the full balanced voltage of the XLR source, which is like having a gain stage. The most obvious result of adding a gain stage to a source component when using a Decware amplifier is that the signal has better dynamics and weight without having to turn the music louder. That's number one. Number two is a bit more subtle but no less important. It is the coloration of the transformers used in the Zbit that add a dimensionality that just isn't there without them. Additionally, you get a nice shimmer on the top end and a more analog vibe from the music. It is the same coloration you pay giant money for in phono cartridges and achieves similarly spectacular imaging. Many components that have both RCA and XLR outputs don't have the exact same sound on both. If you take the voltage difference out of the equation, often the output stage for the balanced section will use different op amps or transistors than the output stage for the RCA jacks. Very rarely do they sound the same. Which one sounds better is component dependent. You have to listen and decide, which is hard because using an XLR to RCA adapter grounds one side of the balanced signal and generally doesn't sound as good as RCA, and using a transformer like our Zbit will, for the reasons outlined, make the sound better. So you have no way to do a direct A-B comparison of the output stages in a source component. Setting up a gain structure by using a Zbit to convert XLR to RCA without unbalancing your system creates better density, more slam, smoother mid-range, better dimensionality, and generally a bigger sound stage by improving the source, which is to say that it's a tool to make your source sound better. It does that from the higher voltage and the desirable colorations of the transformers that we use. To be clear, it does not make the amp sound better. The amp sounds like whatever you put into it. It makes the source sound better, which your amplifier happily reproduces. So, if you're in a panic about which one you need before you purchase a Decware amp, get RCA and let it go until you get your amp as well burned in. Then if the urge to make your source sound better becomes a thing, either replace it with a better one or kick things up a notch with your existing one by using a Zbit. Thanks for listening, and have a great day.